Hi there, I'm Mike, and what I have for you today is Star Wars The Black Series Jaina Solo review. Jaina Solo is the Legends canon, or non-canon, daughter of Han and Leia. Like her uncle and her mom, she had a twin named Jason and a little brother named Anakin. Weirdly enough, everything about her story pretty much ends in sadness. Or so says the article that I read on Wikipedia, because I cannot be bothered to read all of those books. I lost interest in the expanded universe a long time ago, and there's just a lot of them, and most of them are bad. On that note, take a look at this picture while I read her bio. Daughter of Leia Organa and Han Solo, Jaina Solo is a Jedi student of Luke Skywalker. Like her father, she is also a crack pilot and skilled mechanic. Like her mother, she is also a born leader. Jaina exists because she won the fan choice poll in 2016. So out of the box, let's go ahead and take a look at her real quick. Starting off with her face. Being a Legends character, she never had a physical representation in any kind of medium as far as like movies or TV or a real person. However, Hasbro have somehow taken Princess Leia and Han Solo and merged them together into a passable resemblance of what could be her daughter. Right down to that Han Solo-esque smirk that she's sporting. Even if for some reason she did come with alternate faces or an alternate head, this is literally the only one I would ever need with that smirk. I'm in love. Her hair is beautifully sculpted and meticulously painted, with individual locks flowing around her face and down her back. Down into some kind of like ponytail thing. Look, I don't really know much about girls' hair or hair in general. I'm doing my best with this part. Her eyes are painted straight and looking straight in front of her, which is always a plus when it comes to Star Wars The Black Series figures. The whole package in general just kind of gives her like an air of sass, which I just really appreciate. There's a lot of personality in this figure, and I haven't really even stopped talking about the face yet. Because of that, I'm giving the likeness a full point. As far as her accessories goes, she comes with so many accessories. It's fantastic. Starting off with the obvious, she comes with a blaster. Now, an untrained eye or a normal person wouldn't really know what kind of blaster it comes with, other than it kind of looks like Han Solo's blaster, but without the scope. It could be a Blastech DL44 or something new that came after, or maybe a more antique one. I honestly have no idea. If you know, down in the comments, let me know. Even if I didn't ask you to do it, you'd probably let me know anyway, because Star Wars fans are fascinating and weird, and also kind of impressive a little bit. I said that like I'm not one. Anyways, the blaster fits easily and neatly right into her holster, which is sometimes not the case. So that's nice that it does that. Moving on to her lightsaber, it has a purple blade, I guess? I'm assuming that's accurate. I'm not entirely sure. I've never really looked it up or paid attention. I'm just assuming that Hasbro got the details like that right, because that's a pretty big detail to get wrong. At first the hilt looks unpainted, but upon closer inspection, it's painted. There's a little blue line in there. I will say that at least on my figure, the lightsaber doesn't sit well when it's in there. Like, it's not gonna fall out, but when it's in there, it tends to droop or bend weirdly. It's not a huge complaint, but it's just something to take note of. The end of the lightsaber is molded into a loop, and that loop fits well onto a hook on her belt. She also comes with a removable flight helmet and flight suit. Now, I wasn't really aware the flight suit was removable until I saw other people do it, so that's nice. The helmet is meticulously painted to be worn and used. It's got a lot of details, and it tells a lot of stories just from looking at it. It also goes on and off her head without worrying about paint rub. It fits well without being overly tight. They hit the sweet spot on this helmet, which is important, especially when her hair is painted. Applying or removing the flight harness does change the look of the figure pretty drastically. I will say that while it's on, it does hinder the articulation a little bit, but when it's off, you get a pretty big range of motion. It's cool that you have the option of just kind of normal everyday Jaina, or I'm ready to fly into battle Jaina. It adds just that extra level of detail that makes it look like she's about ready to hop into an X-Wing and command Rogue Squadron, which I'm pretty sure that if she wasn't the leader of, she was definitely a part of. I don't want to look it up. I feel like she honestly comes with enough. I'm satisfied with the amount of accessories she has, so I'm going to give it the full point. But speaking of that articulation and being hindered, let's take a look at it real quick. Jaina's head moves side to side pretty easily, not hindered by her hair sculpt, which is nice. It moves forward that far, back that far, pretty much hindered by this part. Her arms move out this far, all the way around. She has a swivel at the elbow and a hinge that goes up past the 90-degree mark, which is really nice. She has a swivel at the wrist as well as a hinge. She has a couple different joints in her waist, but they're more easily seen by taking off her flight harness. She has an upper diaphragm twist that goes side to side, forward that far, back pretty far, and she has an extra ab crunch here that can go forward that far and back that far. Her legs can move out that far, forward that far, back that far. She has an upper thigh rotation, but not really one here because her holster is glued to her leg. She has a double jointed knee, an ankle hinge, as well as an ankle rocker, with this being her widest pose with both her feet flat on the ground. After removing that flight suit, I would probably bring your attention directly to that new U-shaped ab crunch right in her abdomen. Normally for an ab crunch or waist rotation, most Black Series figures have sort of a mid-torso sort of ball joint where they can twist and crunch. Jaina has that. It's right below her breasts in like the normal location that it normally is. But she also has an extra sort of Marvel Legends style ab crunch, which I honestly love. I hope this is indicative of what we're going to get in the future. My only real question is, why her? Why now? As far as the rest of her body goes, she does have only a single jointed elbow, which I normally dock off. However, it does bend at a higher than 90-degree angle, which gives her plenty of movement. So I don't really feel like that lack of double jointed articulation is really missing. Also, there is that sculpted divot right on the side, which allows the arms to hang naturally, which is always a plus. My only real complaint with this figure, and it's my biggest complaint with this figure, is that her holster is actually glued into her leg, which is fine, I guess, except for it does hinder the amount of dynamic poses you can get that leg into. It's legitimately a problem with the figure. Glue is a weird choice. It's so permanent. But that aside, because of the great articulation she has and that wonderful face sculpt I talked about, you can really get into some sassy poses. The figure just has so much personality standing on your shelf. I'm honestly willing to overlook that little flaw I have with her, but I'm still going to dock it a little bit, so I'm going to give it 0.75 on the articulation. Moving on to her detail and sculpt, boy howdy is there a lot of it. I've already talked about it a little bit. Overall, this is kind of the level that we've just come to expect from Hasbro the last 2 years. Hasbro's really upped their game over the kind of details they put into a figure. She has natural fabric folds, paint that simulates a worn leathery look, tiny details in her belt buckles. All of it just kind of really makes Jaina pop while she's standing on your shelf. Or for you monsters out there, keep her in the box and hanging on the wall. Mine does have a few minor paint blemishes, but honestly, I'm willing to overlook those completely. Not every figure can be perfect, and I understand that. The detail there is good, and on the naked cursory glance, it's immaculate. It's not until you get really deep into there, really close up, that you start to see some of the minor flaws. That's just too much. You just need to calm down. It's a $20 figure. So I'll give it the full point. When I first heard that Jaina won the 2016 Fans' Choice vote or whatever, I was pretty disappointed. Of all the figures they haven't made in the Black Series yet, I was disappointed that the fans chose to push her to the front of the line. Her of all people. Why Jaina? Why not so many other of the expanded universe characters? Or just, in-universe characters that are still canon. Why are fans clinging so tightly to this old canon that Disney threw away? Jaina isn't just not canon anymore. Unlike people like Thrawn, who was thrown out and then gradually sort of reintroduced, Jaina has been effectively erased. Jaina's just gone. They never had twins that fought to the death because one turned to the dark side. Now they just have the one kid who did that. However, after seeing images when they announced her and showed her, I knew instantly that this figure was going to be something special. Hasbro clearly did their best with this figure, better than they do with almost any other figure I've had. And I sort of came around to the idea, you know what? People are right. If we don't vote for Expanded Universe Legends characters for these fans' choices, they're never going to get made, ever. Next time there's a fans' choice vote, you better believe that I'm going to be voting for whatever Expanded Universe Legends character there is. As far as Jaina's execution goes, it's fine. I mean, she's part of the newest wave. She's one of 3 new figures in the wave. The rest are repacks. And she's the hard one to get. She's the one that everyone's buying. I've just missed her in stores so many times, seeing both Snoke and Rose just sitting on the shelves. Even tonight, actually, I went to Target and there were 3 Snokes and like 5 Roses sitting on there, which means at some point there were 5 Jainas on that shelf that I missed completely. Thankfully, I had mine pre-ordered from GameStop. I paid that extra $2, but I was guaranteed to get her, and that's really all I cared about. And I'm glad that it came just in time to get her on my top 10 list of 2017, so I could give her the place that she deserved, which was number 3 of the whole year, beat only by Captain Rex and Darth Vader. I'm giving this the full point. That gives her a final score of 4.75 out of 5, making her a damn good figure. And while I was initially disappointed that she was even going to exist at all, I definitely came around, and I love that she's in my collection. Unfortunately, she's in this weird spot where I really don't have anyone to put her with. Right now, she's sitting next to Darth Revan and Prototype Armor Boba Fett because I don't have anyone to put them kind of with. So they just hang out together. They're friends like that, I guess. Not that, the toys are friends with each other when I'm not around. That's definitely not a thing. So that's it. That's my review of Jaina Solo. What did you think? Did you find her? Have you found her yet? Do you want her? Let me know in the comments below, or just give me your general thoughts as well. There's also other things down in the downstairs area you can do to support my channel if you want to. There's even a beard oil, which I will talk about later, from Ohio Beard Furnace Beard Oil people. They make a Star Wars hyperspace one that I'm actually wearing right now. It smells like coffee, which I like. And it's nice and makes my beard soft. And you get 10% off of that for putting in my code down there, which I think is Mike's Toys, which I think is totally cool because that's me and it's a code that they made for me. Like, share, subscribe, all that normal YouTube nonsense that people talk about at the end of all the YouTube videos. And I'll see you later. Bye.
Thank you.